Hey everybody, back again with another one. Excuse me while I adjust the old lamp and cam here. Get everything over and slide some of this hardware out of the way so we can see the card. There we go, cool deal. All right, I'm going to take a minute and share this one over with the page and the channel so we can get this going. I'm going to be coloring Iron Fist and Luke Cage, hanging out here so we can get that done. And there we go. Okay, cool deal. Now, I just finished up Battle Cat here a bit ago, and I'm doing this one pretty late this evening as well, right after midnight, early in the morning for you guys, so we can see this going on. And I'm gonna start rocking this out. So here we go. I'm gonna start in on Luke's base coat here for his skin. Get that knocked out. I'm using an E13, so I'll be going that route, starting with a primary tan, and then move into the darker E15, which I don't want to black him out. I want him to have a really cool animated type of look, so in that regard, I'm not going to go with the full-on E18 or the E20 because I don't want it to go that dark. Some of those colors get really onward into the tone, and I just want to keep it really clean and light so we don't have the card get washed out, because this is going to be dark anyway when it all gets said and done. Because this card has a lot of black on it, so I'm going to have to accent everything with really light colors to keep from killing the effect of his skin tone, which is what I want to be highly polished. So we've got all that going on right there. Now I've got the knot here for Iron Fist mask going right back there, and we don't want to block that out too much because there's the bottom of his collar, there's the piece for his the tassel there coming off, and right back here in the middle is a little bit of Luke's neck. So we got that going on, and then this is going all across here. Now this is going to be his knuckles, obviously, his thumb, or at least I hope it's obvious. I'm going to go ahead and tone that out as well, and we'll paint those up as we move along. So I think this is really cool. I did this after the new series came out, which, like I said, as you guys know, I don't read a lot of comics as they're going along. I don't read them. I like to get into series now and again, but I like to keep it very clean, and I'm very picky about what I read because of the fact that most of the comics out there right now are just what I call Disneyized. And it's nothing against Disney. It's just that, you know, they've taken everything that we know as principal concepts and made them into intellectual properties and turned them over for the movies, or orphaned them completely. And I'm not big on that. So that's the conflict of interest there. But other than that, though, I'm not really anybody that has a problem with it. So I just don't support it. That's the easiest way to do it. If you don't like it, don't support it. You know what I mean? So I see so many people going, you know, it's like, I hate Marvel and I hate Disney, and it's, I mean, granted, I do say that at certain points of what they do, that I have a lot of problems with them as well. But like I said, it's par for course at this point. We're just rocking the boat, as it were, and they're not going to change. So there's no use in getting angry at it anymore. As far as I'm concerned, I'm too busy knocking out my own books and getting stuff ready to compete. So bear with me on that one. While that's drying, I'm going to go in here with an E11, which is pretty much a lighter Caucasian skin color. Not a problem. I use this as my base coat for Like I said, Caucasians. So, I mean, for lack of a better term, it's what it is. So, I like to do this color as a primary and move into uh, the E50, the E13, which I just used as the base there for Luke, as the base, the shading tone for lighter skinned Caucasian characters. And like this one right here, I'm going to do this arm here. I'm going to leave this hand wide open though, because I have to go in and tone that out for the powered up fist, which we're not going to make the reflection glow and all that good stuff like a lot of people like to do. I'm keeping this animated to where it's going to be there and not be in his face, you know, kind of deal. I want to keep it clean. So we're going to go with Luke's base yellow. Let's see, I want to use this one, which is going to be the Y15, if you heard me scribbling across. I'm going to shadow in this part of the mask right here, just because it's that fin that comes up. And then I'm going to catch the rest of his shirt right over here, and on his shoulder back here, his chest and his shoulder. And I want it to look that cool, simple gold yellow, you know, that bright, simple yellow that he uses for his shirts. And apparently I picked up a little graphite right there. That's okay though, that'll work as a natural shadow when I shade it. I thought I got it all. That happens. But let's see. There we go. Cool deal. Now he's got his shirt going on. And I'm going to use a little bit different yellow for the Iron Fist character. I want to use a little bit brighter yellow. I've got a lemon yellow here, which is a Y13. Trying to make sure that tip's clean though, so I don't have any problems. Yeah, cool. I just want to go in and use this really gently here. It's going to be very bright, and I want it to be that way. It's more pale than it is bright, and the reason I like it is because I want it to be an offshoot of the suit itself with these stripes and as a base coat, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it off with this really cool color for this base yellow, and then I'm going to come around and spark this off with the green that goes into the suit. And the reason I want to do this yellow first is because that way I can highlight that solid yellow along the way, and it gives that green that softer fabric look. Okay, there is a point to it. And I'll do the same thing with the mask up here. So got that going on. Now, like I said, I do know he is green, so don't freak out on me. It's like, you're coloring him yellow. It's okay. It's really okay. We're going to get it done. Don't worry about it. It's all right. But I just want to map this out really quick and cover all of the pieces here that we need. So we have all of that done. Now then, I'm going to go in here and get all of this finished up, because we want to move on with the great coloring that is going to knock this out of the park. And scene. No, seriously though, I'm going to move through this really quick to kind of finish this up, because I know it's late or early depending on where you're at, and I want you guys to have this today. So I'm going to be posting quite a few new videos over to the YouTube channel, and we're going to have all that good stuff show up for the show to say, hey, you know, we've got new episodes. Check it out. And that's what I want to have happen. So now we've got him all toned up, right? It's like, yeah, you've made him yellow. It's like, now he looks like the Ray. That's all right though, because like I said, bear with me, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with this soft green first. I've got a straight up Nile green, which is a G07. Hey James, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Okay, now we've got this basic green color, and I'm not going to go with the mint green like they have. You know, they have this lime green, mint green thing going on with his suit throughout most of the project, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm going to go with the double racing stripe for the yellow, and I'm going to have the primary part of the suit a rich green because I want it to show up. And like I said, I want this to have an animated feel to it, so that's what I'm going for. And the yellow underneath will make that highlight when it dries. It'll make it just a little bit thinner and a little bit brighter than it's supposed to be in the true form of the color, okay? And the reason we want to do that is because it makes it brighter and stand out underneath that black. And a lot of people don't get that, but it is what it is. So that's the reason why I do that right there. Now, I'll come in. Here's a chunk of the suit right there. And I'm going to leave that for the dragon tail. And I'm going to leave this as part of the suit on the other arm. And I'll leave that as the other side of the collar. Excuse me. So we've got that going on. This is part of the dragon under here, so I'm going to color this in. Green right there. Green right there. Green right there. So now we got the base color of the suit in place for Iron Fist himself. And now I'll come back with that color, the brighter yellow, and like I did with Luke's shirt, basically, and come in and do this a little bit brighter. And I'm just doing the core. I'm not doing too much on the outskirts. I just want to kind of give it a warmer center to fill it in a little bit. Because I'm going to go one step further with this one and make it highlight just a little bit more. Once this is done, once this dries up a little bit and goes into sets. So now basically what I'm doing right now is the Venom effect, as I call it, because I like to draw where I highlight all this cool stuff and then add a core center color to give out that edge and make it really pop off, and that's what we want. So we've got that going on. And now I'm going to kind of do the same thing with the forehead here, leave a little bit of a highlight space and kind of ridge that out so it'll pop just a little bit and get a little heavy there. Now, on the hand, I want to do something a little different. I'm going to coat this with this darker yellow, and then I'm going to come in with a really light orange and tone that out a little bit so that it gives that rich, heated look. But you have to be careful because most people like to go on the inside of this and then they put the hues on the outside, okay, and make it look like it's heating up from the inside out. Well, with this one, you want to do it kind of like this. You want to do it in layers, and that's the reason for those ridges right there, because you want to do it kind of like a flame, where it's still coming from the core and the center, but it's not totally from the center. And it gives off that glow, that inner and outer glow, and it'll balance that out. Okay, that will keep you from having that problem. Now on the suit, I'm going to use a W1 here, which is a warm kind of brownish gray. I'm going to kind of dull this up just a little bit because I want to make this look like fabric, and I don't want it to look like a bright shiny uniform. I don't like that, and with this being a sweatsuit or a practical jumpsuit, I want it to have that edge to it, to where it breaks it down just a little bit and sets it off, and it gives it that fabric look, you know, so you don't have that brighter organic stuff here and then it be the same thing here. With the mask, gonna come in on this cheek, right between the nose and the cheek there, grab this side for the cheekbone, catch this shadow right here, kind of fill that in a little bit and lead it out to the side. Lead that brow up a little bit. and lead that up to the shade. And then we'll go in and kind of stroke that in a little bit to wash that out and catch up some of this stuff. Go into this eye over here, and then we'll come across this way, across the forehead, broken lines a little bit so it'll shade up. Now it kind of gives it a washed look, and we want to do that because what's going to end up happening is, first off, I've got to go hit that other fingertip that I missed right back there, and we'll cover that real quick. Dink. Okay, cool deal. That's a technical term, by the way, that sound. So we've got all that going on, and now instead of going in with let's see, instead of doing Luke first, I'm going to get our boy Iron Fist out of the way here. Kind of tone him up just a little bit. Right up underneath that mask. Just a little. So we have Danny Rand. Give him a little bit of color like that. And same thing with this muscle here. I'm not going to draw out every single muscle because I don't like that look. And as I've said before, I don't like doing all the realism. So we have that going on. Now we kind of have a really neat look here with the muscles. So without drawing all of them in place. And I'm going to draw the E15 in for Luke's skin tone. Now this is going to be a little different. We're going to have to go over this very lightly because, like I said, I don't want to make him incredibly dark and wash him out. I want him to have a great flesh tone. And if you're drawing African American skin tones, check it out when you going in to do the work. Be sure and check it out how far you go with it. I mean, there are different shades of skin on every race and every type of human being. So you have to go in and kind of check yourself a little bit to see, you know, how dark you need to go for the character's resemblance and how far you want it to go as far as what you need in the end result. You know what I mean? You got to think this stuff out a little bit. And so many people just go, boom, I'm going to color him, you know, extremely dark skinned, or I'm going to color him, you know, with a mocha color, or I'm going to color him with this color or that color. Same thing as you do, you know, with anybody else. It's just respect the craft. I have a lot of, you know, black friends that say, you know, dude, you draw people with different colored skin. That's awesome, because so many people stereotypically go in and draw just everybody with the same freaking paint or the same marker, and it's ridiculous, the result. And the reason why is because they don't pay attention to their friends. You know, they don't pay attention to people in real life. And it doesn't matter. I mean, you got to pay attention. It does matter to the fact that making the difference. It doesn't matter if you're, you know, if you only know one black person or whatever, you know, which I hear that all the time. It's just like, well, I only know one or two people of color. It's just like, well, then get out more. Good God. It's 2018. Walk to the mall. You'll find plenty of people. Go out to the grocery store. It's just, come on, man. And I love doing this kind of build-up with any character, you know, like I did with Danny here with this muscular tone. That's all I'm after right there, is that base tone to get the right shadowed look and the right musculature to show the character. Now, I know in this one, like I said, I'm going to make it animated, so it's going to be a little different. I'm not going to go into hardcore detail. I've got a warmer shade of gradient that I'm going to come in with to highlight and shadow down his tones as well. But for the most part, man, I'm just going to leave it wide open. I mean, I don't want to go in there and make a mess of it. And, you know, give it a shot. Get out there and paint it. And if you know people, use those examples. Draw from life. Because I hear so often that, you know, people just don't want to do anything. It's I don't want to offend anybody, or I don't want to do, you know, get out there and draw, man. If you're an artist, show them respect by drawing people that look like them and don't, you know, and you and whoever else, and don't get tied up in all that stereotypical crap, because that's where the mess is fear of talking about it. You know, people just don't talk, and it's a waste to see that happen. It really is. So I'm going to put a punker back here. He's kind of pasty, so very pale. I'm going to put him back here with some purple hair in a few minutes and a brown or black vest maybe kind of deal. And this guy is going to be a little more Caucasian, but he's in shadow back here again, so we're going to have that going on. And he's not going to have a shirt on. He's going to be the big brute of the group. He's going to be that muscular guy, you know, that jerk that's always got to yank his shirt off and flex and I'm going to beat you down, man. And it's the one everybody chants the name of until he gets pummeled and then everybody's quiet. It's the stereotypical stuff. Oh gosh. Let me see here. I'm going to grab, I thought I had one already. Bear with me a second. I'm grabbing a blue here, a B06, which is called peacock blue, believe it or not. And that's the color of his pants. That's what we're going with right here. Boom, done deal. Yay, yes. Okay, now we got that going on. We got him colored up, and I'm going to go ahead and do this jacket over here, a blue as well. Go ahead and do that. He's got the crazy arms going on. Okay, we got, I need, looking for colors here. I'm going to go with a YG 97, which is a Spanish olive. That's what I'm going to do for the, oh, whacked my globe there on my lamp. I'm going to go ahead and knock that out with an olive color for the pipe or stick or whatever he's got going on. I'm also going to use that up here for Luke's belt, because that'll work out, because we're going with the Netflix version, so this is going to be kind of cool. Okay, got that going on. Now I have a C7 here, which I'm going to go in. This is going to be very dark. I'm going to have to be very cautious with this. I'm picking up eraser bits here. I'm just not going to use the wedge because it's too big. I'm going to color this dude's belt with it. Knock that out. And I'm going to catch old boy's shirt here with it. Yeah, old boy is a technical term, by the way. That's what I call everybody. Talk about guys in general. I'm just like, oh boy didn't do that, and oh boy didn't do this, and I'm just, I know it's bad. I'm just crazy. I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. It's just, I don't mean anything by it or anything, you know, whatever. It just cracks me up because I don't pay attention to people's names and stuff. I've hit an age to where it's just like that. You know, that old boy didn't do this and that old boy didn't do that, and who are you talking about? Let me see here. I'm gonna go in with the orange here. I need the other orange because I'm gonna pull this out. It's a YR23 and it has an egg yolk color. I've used it before, and on the mask here, I'm gonna bring in some of this heavy shade because I know I've got the warmer shading on it, and it's underneath there, and it's definitely holding up with this, but I want to give this guy a harder edge so he doesn't look like such a flat, hard case, because that's the big problem is with these suits like this Batman style cowl, you know, you can really go crazy with it, or you can really make it look flat, and you know, it's like, wow, Wolverine looks awesome, and then you're like, well, you know, why doesn't Iron Fist look awesome? He looks like a weenie. Well, that's because of the fact that you didn't shade him right. So don't let that get you. And this is kind of a leathery fabric that I want it to be a little denser. So that's why I put the mask on here with this kind of gold thing happening, and this collar as well. So it pops up a little different. But again, I don't want it to look like a costume. I just want these pieces of the fabric to look different and a little firmer than the jumpsuit that he's actually in. So that's what we're going for. Also on Luke, this is what I'm going to shade his shirt with. Like I told you before, I was going to kind of outline that and buff it a little bit. And the reason for that is because I want to bring in all that extra life to that shirt and a little more dimension to it than just having, you know, the flat yellow shirt, which is cool too, because his shirts stick out as a sore thumb, you know, with that bright yellow anyway. But I like adding the contrast, so it brings up the card just a little bit more. But whatever works for you is what I want you to do. You know, don't do what I do for sake of doing what I do. Do what you do because of the fact that it works for you. Okay, put it that way. That's the easiest way to do it. And I'm going to come in on these hard shadows and kind of darken them up a little bit. But like I said, I'm not going to put it in the stripes because I want that to stay with that jumpsuit look. Okay. I'm going to come in with this G17. And the reason I'm going to do this one is because of the fact that I want to have these shadows pop out just a little bit. And like I said, I want it to look like a jumpsuit, so I'm not going to go super bright and super deep with it. I'm just going to keep it very simple because I want it to look like a sweatsuit, and I want it to be pretty much one-dimensional as far as that goes. I just want to give it enough of an edge to hold it up and move it forward. So got that going on. Got that going on right there. And we're going to leave the rest of it there. So we've got that. And now I'm going to come back in with Luke's eyes. Now, when you go in with someone's eyes that has an amber color, they're that they have that amber color brown to them. You want to, or that caramelized, for the lack of a better term, a caramelized look. What you want to do is you want to go in with a lighter color. Don't go super dark on them, and don't go darker than the skin tone. What you do is you bring in a light color as the base, a dark yellow, a light brown, a super light brown, and come in with just the regular skin tone as the shading for it, and leave it alone and let it highlight from the skin. And I know that looks weird at first, but it will work, because what you're going to do is you're going to go in with a darker shadow color, and you want to add just a little bit on the corner, right up underneath the eyelids where the eye meets the edge. Boom, boom, right there for a little shadow. Now check this one out. You go in with something like this that's a little awkward, which is like this this Spanish olive again, which is a YG 97, and that's what you do the pupils with. Now, the reason you do that is because it gives them a softer green, softer tone. It gives them a dark, rich color without giving them something crazy as you know, just blacking them out and killing the character eye. You don't want to do that, because then it blinds it out and then the character looks flat. And I've seen that so many times where people just go in and kill a character, and will cut the depth and life right out of them because they'll put in a dark eye that doesn't stand out. And I get recognized for the eyes that I draw, and a lot of people ask me how I do that. Well, the reason is because I don't damage out the light. You know, I show the eyes. And some people say, well, it looks like cataracts when you do that. Well, if it does contrast with the character too harshly, then what you do is you go in and you put a little darker gray in there and tone it down a little bit. But you don't ever put black in there unless you come out that way and you already inked it that way, because what will end up happening is you'll get a wash that's way worse than the lighter looking eye. So you let it sit and let it dry for a minute and see if you can get the eye to show up the way you want it. And if it doesn't show up the way you want it, you go in and fix it. That's what we do, you know. So I'll show you guys in just a second how to fix that, just in case. Even though this one isn't light to me, I'm going to go ahead and do that just to show you how to do it, okay? So you got the green olive color, and, you know, some people may look at the card and go, well, he's got cataracts now. Well, what you do is you take a dark gray, like a C7, which is a cool gray, and you go right around the edge of it, just underneath, like we did with the other color, and it will take that off instantly because it'll darken it up and make it look like there's a streak of light going across his eyes. Boom, done deal, no problem. Now I'm going to take this warm 1 again, and I'm going to go right here into the edge of the eye, and right here into the edge of the eye, and I'm going to add that kind of contrast right there, so it looks like he's got a shadow going on for it. And same thing right underneath the edge of the lip, and right under the row of the teeth, so he looks like he's got shadows for his teeth, and they stick out like bone now. Same thing with Luke over here. I want to go right underneath the shadow of his teeth, and there we go. Now that will dry, and it'll look like bony teeth rather than it'll look like bony teeth rather than a freaky mess back there. So I'm not worried about it. Now I'm going to take this lime green, and I know that sounds bright for what I'm doing here, but I'm going to take this lime green and I'm going to go right over this guy's hair just like it's transparent, and I'm going to fill in these holes here. And this will contrast all of the yellow and the green in the suits. And we're going to go all through here, color this out, boom, boom. Go back up here, finish this off, just like this. And it adds a contrasting highlight to these idiots that they're fixing to fight. So, you know, these guys are always the big musclehead, bonehead guys that, you know, the classic brutes. Not to say that anybody builds up, you know, that works out and stuff and healthy isn't smart. I'm just saying these are stereotypical brutes back here for the comic books. Please don't post on that and freak out. Okay, because that's not the case. Now, I said that I wasn't going to overwork this too much. I have an E09 here, which is more of a burgundy color, okay? It's more of a chocolate burgundy color, because I didn't want to go as far as the 18, but I'm going to show you guys the 18 anyway, the E18, just so you can see it, all right? I've got the Copic chow set, which is basically skin, hair, and other bits for coloring manga stuff. Now, this one is really, really dark, okay? And then we have more of a, with this E09, it's a burnt sienna, so it's a little bit redder. And I want to go this way with the shading because of the fact that I want to make sure that this comes out with just a tint, okay, not overrun. And by going brighter with a warmer red, I end up with a really cool shade rather than it being ruined by blacking it out too much with the 18. And by ruined, I mean not to make him darker, it's not a problem, but in comics you have to add light that's not there and doesn't exist, okay? That's the big thing. That's the big catch-22 for comics and coloring, and that's why a lot of these tones look weird when you do them on the computer and you're like, man, that doesn't look like, you know, it doesn't look right. Well, the reason it doesn't look right is because of the fact that you haven't gone bright enough. You're trying to go true color, and you'll see people color comic books. They'll color their comics way too dark, and you know the ones I'm talking about, the type that are super, super dark, and they've been burnt out and overcolored and overworked. And the reason for that is because people try to get the true color on the screen, and they don't realize that they're blacking out most of the contrast in the light source from the comic book. You actually have to go a tone or two lighter than what you really want to do as far as the color goes to make it match up. And people don't get that unless you're a colorist, you know, and you've done it for years on end. You just don't get that. And that's the reason we have to do highlights, and we have to do overtones, and we have to do different colors. And that's why sometimes you'll see in these comic books they just get way too dark. Especially independent and small press guys, they swamp these things, and they will just make it totally blacked out to where you can almost not see the artwork. And the reason for that is because they're going too dark in the color tones. Pick a lighter palette. Please, for the love of God, pick a lighter palette. So, you know, that's the best tip I can give you. If you're coloring your stuff or you want to color it by hand and you want to bring it to life, definitely go lighter than darker. I mean, yes, it may look a little more cartoony than you want it. It may look a little lighter than you want it, but I guarantee you, you'll be able to see your picture, where in contrast you wouldn't otherwise. So think about that when you're doing that, because it will bite you in the butt, and I mean it will bite you hard. Now, as I'm doing these knuckles, I'm only going to one side and blocking it out, and I'm leaving that 2/3 highlight around that inside and around that bottom edge. And the reason for that is because of the way the light's tipped. We're going to have the highlight on this hand up here from this side. So we're going to have to go in here with the knuckle like that and shadow from this side down here for the most part with that. That's how you make that work. And right along the inside of that line, make a shadow line where those knuckles meet and that flesh comes together for the fist. So you have it. And then you have the bottom knuckles, and you have the pad of the hand down here, which goes underneath and goes dark as well. Now underneath on the wrist, you'll have the back of the hand and the wrist and at the start of the forearm down here. And you got to kind of be open with that a little bit. Just detail it as much as you need to, and then move on. Because what ends up happening is you break it down and you'll get it too dark, too dark. So just add in the contrast and move. Just boom, just like that. Right along that inside, right along that inside, right along that inside. Now put a chunk down here and put a chunk down there. And then right on this underside again, because the light's coming down from here, you'll see this on the underside this way as well, because it'll contrast that way. And now we've got that going on. Boom. So we've got Luke. Now when he dries up, he won't be this dark, okay? He will not be that dark. I want him to be that. I want him to be dark right now because of the fact of the way he's coming across, and I'm waiting for him to dry and really pop out. Now with everything going on down here, I want to put another strip across here to kind of balance this out. Now that doesn't look like much right now, but when it dries it will. And let's see, I'm going to go in a little bit more of this orange and kind of highlight things up a little bit more, make that a little stronger throughout. And like I said, I don't want it to get swamped. I just want it to look lit up. And I have another one, which is a YR07, which will finish this up. Just in sporadic places, like in the bends of the fingers and the bends of the joint, the pads of the hand, that kind of thing. Right at the knuckles, right at the knuckle joints here, 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 the fingertips. I'm going to put this little bit of orange there to kind of dig into that a little more. And now I'm going to bump it up one more time, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this E11, the base flesh tone for Danny here, and I'm going to mix this in just a little bit, just to add a little more of a fabric tone to that. Not much, just a little, because it'll make you go, what's that color in there? That's the reason why I want it to look like that. So I'm going to add a little bit of that color in there. We've got that going on. I want to add some back there, and on this upper mask, where are you? There you are. On this upper mask, to make it look kind of like a little bit deeper leathery effect. Under the heavy shadows, go in and add an E15, an E13 in this case. Something along that line. It'll work perfectly, because you just want to warm it up just a little bit. And like at the bottom of that brow, like that, and where this ear crease is, and where the back of the fold for the head is, that kind of thing, like that. Just kind of brush that in just a little bit. And I know, like I said, a lot of people don't like to take that risk, but I do, because of the fact that I like a more animated look. A lot of people go, you overwork it. Well, that's okay. That's what you think I do. That's fine. That's fine. I'm willing to take that risk. That's the whole point of this card. Now I'm going to come in and shade that nose again because it's not quite as dark as I wanted. There we go. Cool. Now, right along that edge, I'm going to kind of pop that in there as well, and it'll bring it up. So, you know, it makes it look a little contrast, a little. I can't speak tonight. A little heavier contrast to the original look of it, and that's what I want. I want it to have just that little bit of brown hint into it to bring it together as a really hard, leathery look. So, have to do that on the knot as well. I think it works. I like it. And it'll also help set it off from the look of Luke's suit, shirt, and skin as well. So, now if you want to take down the smile or the grit or the eyes just a little bit from solid white, pop a little warm gray in there. It'll do tons for that. Pop a little warm gray in those eyes and it'll pull it down just a little bit. It'll mute them down just a little. But with this card, it's high contrast white anyway. I really like it, and I hope you guys do too. But for now, I'm going to stop and leave this one alone. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. This is another one done. That about wraps it up. As always, you guys know how it is. We've got this rock for a limited amount of time to party on, and we got to clean up our mess after us so that we can enjoy it for the next generation and the next round to go. Take care. Yesterday was a cool Easter holiday and an April Fool's Day, all wrapped in one little tight package. So I hope you had a great one this weekend, and I know this is our Monday and starting back to work and all that fun stuff. For everybody celebrating, happy holidays, and I will see you tomorrow. Check you later.